Okay, good day, passionate mothers. Good day, welcome to today's webinar. I'm so sorry I'm not live now. I had to record it this morning because network has been bad for the past 2 days, so I do not want any stories. I don't want to tell you guys any stories, so I had to record. So I'm here with you live in the comment section. So any questions or comments, please leave it in the section and we will gladly reply. All right, so welcome. I'm so glad you are here to join us. You love your child so much. You are passionate about seeing him succeed and you are being proactive. You are going for what it takes for your child to succeed. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you made it. Okay. So you are here because one or two reasons. Maybe your child is not talking yet, your child is lacking behind in functional behavior, or he's behind his peers academically or socially, and you are really concerned. You want to see your child improve and make it in life. Okay, I know that's why you are here, but I would like to make this disclaimer so that you don't think you are scammed tomorrow. All right, there is no way we can teach your child everything today or even teach you everything today. It's too short a time, max 1 hour. All right, and teaching a child to talk is a sequential process that requires one step at a time, one step practice, another step practice, and all that. Thirdly, it requires individualization. So we need to meet your child at his specific need and attend to him at his own level and at his own speed. So please don't think that you are going to learn everything here. Okay, so with that being said, let's clarify the objective of this webinar. So we just want to let you know that it is 100% possible for your child to talk. So in order to talk, you need to understand the underlying issue why your child is not talking. As I said in the group, it is for this particular training is for children with autism. So you need to understand why the child is not talking, what is holding him back, and then how speech therapy works, and then to arm you with some skills or principles to help you get started, even if you don't go ahead with us. Okay, so that is what this webinar, that's the objective, to let you know it is possible. Okay, so because through that we'll be covering some things, basics of speech, the autistic brain, what therapy is, some skills like reinforcement, prompting, and then some pre-language skills. All right, so that's basically what we'll cover in this webinar. So before we go ahead, I would like you to know a little about me, who is talking with you. I'm Dr. Uchenna Ahanotu, an educational psychologist and the founder of Nene Special Education Center. So our story it is a personal story actually. It started like 6 years ago when I was just on my own, and I started noticing a lot of things about my daughter. Okay, I noticed some things. She was failing, and then the school started saying she has to repeat. That was like six when she was 6 years, primary one, thereabouts. And I was like, my child is intelligent. Is it that if I'm not teaching her well, sorry, they say no, that she's not reading, she's a lodo, she's doesn't, and all that. I was like, no, that's not my daughter. So I had my master's in educational psychology. I know like how we do here in Nigeria, you study something, you put your certificate under the bed because there's no job, kind of. So it made me go back to my books. I was like, just like every proactive parent is. So that's why I'm so happy you are here seeking knowledge for your children. I had to go to the internet, Google what is wrong with my daughter. So, with my background in psychology and all that, I got to know that she had dyslexia. Yeah, inability to decode words turning into, is it French or Spanish for her, and all that. So it was making her to fail. It was making her to fail. The school did not understand it. They just think that she doesn't want to learn. She doesn't want to read. And it has started affecting her self-esteem. She was even afraid of going to school and all that. So I was like, this is my first daughter. I can't let this happen. So when I discovered that it was dyslexia, I had to start teaching her myself, taking her through, because I had to understand what is the problem, how to go about it, teaching her how to understand the letters and the words. And today she's in JS2, she's the prefect of her class, she's doing so well. Okay, so as I was studying about her, I got to know that there were other neurological disorders like that. I had to see ADHD, autism, and a lot of others. Okay, so it made me see that what these children lacked was, okay, maybe we'll get to that later. Neurological disorder is just actually a disorder of the brain. The way the brain is wired is disordered. Okay, so what therapy does is to straighten it out. So for the therapist or the teacher has to understand, okay, instead of this child to understand this way, it is going up and down. So what we actually do in therapy is to try to straighten out the wires, sort of. Okay, so that was what I did to my daughter. All those letters that were jumping up and down for her, we had a system of straightening it out so that when she sees A, she'll know that it's A. When she sees B, she'll know that it's B, and then she'll start reading. So, long and short, we had to, some parents started calling me. I started going to schools to help some kids and all that. At a point, I found some children that 2 times a week, 30 minutes a day, wasn't helping. They needed more intensive care, first of all. Then, secondly, some were disrupting the classroom. So, no matter how long they stay in the class, they were not sitting down, they were not listening, and they were distracting the teacher and other students. So, these children needed some time out for special education. And that was how the next special education came about. Okay, so Nene is the name of my daughter. I had to name it after her because she was the one that put. So I'm so glad. That's why I'm so glad you are here, because it is you, the parent, that have to stand up and fight for your child's survival. Our system doesn't understand it. The teachers don't have time for it. Not that they don't have time. They love your child, but some don't even understand, and they'll have to bring them talk. Okay, so we all know about bullying and all that. Once you are not doing well, you are termed another name. So, so my daughter is doing very well now. So that is why I know that starting at the right time and giving the right intervention works. So we've gone ahead of dyslexia. We still have children with dyslexia, dyscalculia, learning disabilities, and all that. All right, so that is how we started, and we are going bigger and bigger. Okay, so the big question parents ask me once they come is, can my child talk? Will he talk? Will he talk? When will he talk? If he can talk, when will he talk? So that's the big question, and the big answer is yes, your child can talk on two conditions: with the right intervention done at the right age. And some will ask me, what is the right age? Is it late for my child? To actually be honest with us, research shows that after 6 years, it will be more difficult for your child to talk if he has not started talking. Not that it's not possible, it will be more difficult. But before 6 years, 7 years, everything is possible. So that's why we say at the right age. And that's why early intervention, we shout it and shout it, early intervention is key, because their brain at this time is more malleable. I told you that neurological disorder is about tangled wires, tangled neurons in the brain. So before they become stiff, we use that under 6 years to start straightening them out with therapy. Do this like this, do this like this. Before you know it, a neural path is created, and the child will now know that this is how this is done, and he learns it. So it works for both behavior, for speech, for learning, for everything. So done at the right age and with the right intervention, because it's not just about giving medication. For example, it's not about giving malaria is doing you and you buy malaria tablets. Do you take all of them at the same time? No. The doctor will tell you, take this at this time, take this at this time, take it at this dose. And when you come back, they say, okay, how is it doing you? Or yeah, add this, add that. So the right intervention means doing the right thing at the right time in the right sequence, and that is what will guarantee success. All right, so having answered that, I want us to go straight to the part A so that we understand what your child is really struggling with. So at this point, please, if you have any questions, just drop them. I said I'm here with you. So as you drop the questions, I'll answer them. Okay. So let's go to the next thing to understand our kids. Okay, so what is speech? What is language? What is communication? I wish this was live so that people could help me answer some questions. So, since it's not live, let me go ahead. So, let's start with communication first of all. Communication is a process of exchanging ideas and information so that it is received with clarity. In short form, it is the ability to give and receive information. So by the time you tell a child come and the child comes, that means the child heard you, understood you, and answered. So that's communication. So communication could be done whether with words, whether with sign, whether with just your eye telling your child this and that. That's communication. You've passed information across, and it has been received with clarity. Okay, so language is just a system of communication which involves words, written text, gestures, whatever it is that you use to convey that information. So even a picture, just as we say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So with a picture, you convey information. So anything you use to convey information and it is understood with clarity is language. So it could be English language, it could be French language, it could be signs, it could be symbols, just like a blind man who communicate with you with braille. Okay, so whatever it is language, the system of communication. Then speech is the use of words. So speech is about words, using words only to convey ideas and thoughts. All right, are we together so far? So we see that it's not just, so it's just that, so if I ask you now, does your child communicate? How does he communicate? What language does he use? Because I know we are so concerned about talking, that speech, use of words. But I want us to understand an issue. Okay, let me go ahead. Let's understand autism. What is autism? Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. I explained that a neurodevelopmental disorder is just a disorder of the brain. The neurons of the brain did not develop as it's supposed to be. It got disordered. You know what disorder is? Something that just scattered like that. So the neurons of the brain became tangled up, disordered. But what's got tangled up is the part that affects his communication, social interaction, and behavior. So your child's neurodevelopmental disorder did not affect every part of him. That's why he's growing well, he's walking, he's dancing, he's so it did not affect every part of his being. And we know that some of these children are very intelligent. So it did not affect their intelligence. It just affected their communication skills. It affected their social skills. And it made them to start behaving somehow. Okay. So actually what the brain of an autistic child is different. There are differences in the frontal cortex, the amygdala, the cerebrum, the hippocampus. So these areas have some things they do, and it is what got affected in your child's brain. Okay, so the frontal cortex is for social interactions, for abstract thinking, for motor tasks. So you know that some of our kids, they don't even know how to hold the pencil. All right, they don't know how to you have to feed them. They don't know how to do all those things. Then amygdala, the major center for processing emotions. Ah, this one is big. Okay, before I continue, autism is a spectrum. So these are the areas it affected, but for every child, it affected it to a certain degree. So the frontal cortex of child A might not be affected to the extent of child B. So the frontal cortex of child A might be more affected than his amygdala is affected. Do you understand? So that's why you say no to autistic children are separate, because this one might be affected small and this side is affected big. When you are in child B, this one is affected big, this one is affected small. So no two children are the same. They cannot process emotions. We all know that when they want something, they don't even know how to control themselves and think, okay, or when they're looking at your face, they cannot process and say, hey, mommy is not happy today. Hey, mommy, why are you not happy? They cannot process the emotions you are feeling. They also cannot control their own emotions. So the amygdala is affected. Then the cerebellum, which affects language processing and memory. Okay, so that language processing, ability to hear, understand what you're saying, and then repeat back to you. Okay, and then memory. Sometimes you teach them something, and it's as if they forget it. So their working memory is not top notch. So the cerebellum is affected. So that's why, as we were saying, one of the principle, repetition is key. Repetition, you have to repeat it and repeat it until it sticks. And once it sticks, it has stuck. Oh. Yeah, they don't forget. That's one good thing about it. So the hippocampus for storing new memories is also affected. So repetition is key to teaching them. All right. So with all this now, we now know that it's just that your autistic child does not know how to communicate because of the deficiencies of some of his brain areas. It's just that he cannot process information speedily because of that memory. He does not know the words to use and express how he feels, and he does not know how to produce the sounds he hears. So it's not that he doesn't want to do that thing you're telling him, it's just that he's not processing it well. It takes time. That's one of the principles we teach. When you tell them to do something, give them time. Don't be like, are you not hearing me? Can't you come now? They are processing it, trying to make sense of what you said. Okay. So we see that communication is not the same thing as speech. Communication is the ability for the child to hear you and do what you say, to receive information and to give information. Communication can be done in so many ways, as we say, even in songs. When emotions, thoughts can be passed through a song. When you hear a song, you understand what that person is saying. It's communication. So Communication can be done either with words, with speech, with writing, with gestures, whatever it is. Our aim is for your child to communicate through appropriate means. Yes, I know we want the child to talk, but our chief aim is communication. Our chief aim is communication. And for older children that maybe 7, 8 years, 10 years, 13 years, our aim for them now is communication, not actually speech. Let them know how to convey their emotions, their feelings, because it's when they're not able to convey their emotions and thoughts that they become violent and aggressive. Autistic children, as we said, it just affected their communication skills, their social skills, and their repetitive behavior. They are not aggressive. They are not violent. They are not. It did not affect those areas. But it is when they are not able to express themselves, and when you are not able to understand what they are feeling, that they now become violent, which is what we all do. When you are trying to talk to somebody, the person is not hearing you, start shouting, "Are you not hearing me?" So it happens to everybody. So they are not different. So our aim is just for them to know how to communicate. Okay, you are feeling this way. All right, this is how you should do so that we will know how you are feeling. So they might not need to talk, but they have to learn how to communicate. So if your child is under 6, yes, your child can still talk. But if your child is above 8, I'll recommend that you focus on communication skills. Teach teach other means of communication. There is assistive technology. He could do it through writing. He could do it through specs. We call it picture exchange communication. We even encourage sign language. All we know is that you are communicating and you are calm and you are growing. Okay. All right. So quickly, what is therapy? Therapy is just a treatment given to resolve an issue without use of medication. So speech therapy is any treatment or technique used to improve your child's language, and it aims to teach him communication skills, building from the basics. Okay, so speech therapy is not about using medication. It's not about using drugs. In fact, we don't recommend drugs. We don't recommend drugs for children. Reason being that their brain is still soft or malleable. It will tend to, number one, if it doesn't disfigure, let me use the word, if it doesn't reshape their memory, they'll become so used to it that it will not be effective again. So the best way is to use therapy, whether speech therapy, behavior therapy, occupational therapy, to teach him the purpose. Our aim is to rewire the brain. Remember, that's where the problem is from, the disordered brain. Is to rewire it in the most natural way, not with medication. Medication will alter. It will not rewire, it will alter. All right. So that's what therapy is, and that is what we want you parents to do. Okay. So, and we want you to know that you are the best therapist for your child, and you need to develop these qualities. Okay. An understanding mind. And that's why we are teaching this as short as it is. Understand the problem. Now you know that it's just a brain rewire disorder. Understanding that your duty as a therapist, my duty as a therapist is to rewire the brain. Just take it as ropes or wires that got tangled up and that you are trying to straighten out without cutting the rope. Okay, so when you understand the issue, then you have to have a determined heart. Be determined to straighten it out. Be determined to straighten out your child's mind, because he's not, whatever he's doing, He's not doing it purposely. Sometimes it will look as if they are purposely doing that thing and looking at you, but actually they are not doing it on purpose. Remember, it did not affect their intelligence, so they are intelligent, but that intelligence, they don't know how to do that thing. So imagine an intelligent child that does not know how to pound. He knows he should pound, but he doesn't know how to pound. So he'll pound it on his feet. So it's you that have to know that, okay, don't know how. Remember, our keyword here is how. They don't know how. So it means that you have to teach them how. So be determined to teach them how, and then have a proactive attitude. Proactive attitude means being forward about taking the bull by the horn, taking action, being in front, not being reactive but being proactive. Don't wait for things to happen before you react. Go ahead and make the change happen. As I said, that was what I had to do with my daughter. If I had waited for them, they were already affecting her socially, emotionally. But I had to go ahead and took the action I needed to take by myself. And my child is okay now. And I thank God you parents are ready to take the action. Okay, so we are encouraging you to be the therapist for your child because actually you are the best therapist. Yeah. What you just lack is the know how. And that is what we are here for, to teach you how. We know that children spend, is it most, do they spend most of their time in school? But then when they come home, we noticed in our center, we do our best. We teach very well at the center. But we noticed the difference between the children that do their homework and those that do not do their homework. The difference is starkly clear. The difference is that why do you think there's homework in school? The teacher will teach and teach and teach and give you homework. Why do you think that is necessary? Because we know as educationists that that one done in the home has a way of reinforcing what has been done. Because the home environment is a home, is calmer, yeah, you feel more secure, you are among loved ones, siblings that are not laughing at you. So whatever you are now doing that, whether it's your sister teaching you or your mother teaching you, you are learning it with love and in a relaxed mind. It sinks more. It sinks more than the one done in school and all that. So we've seen a difference between those who do homework and those who don't do their homework. So we know that the parent is key to helping us to establish what we are teaching. And that, but if you don't know what to teach, how can you teach it? My son came back from school one day and gave me one math like that they gave them homework to do. Me, I don't know the math. So I was like, didn't your teacher teach you? He said, yes, he taught me, but I don't understand it. Mommy, teach me. Me, I did not know it. So I was like, I flipped through his book looking for maybe examples that were done in class, but unfortunately, this was homework book. The math textbook and the math exercise book is in the school, so the workings that were done in the class is in the class. He just came back with homework for me to do. I said, boy, close the book. I don't know it, but let's go and tell your father. Go back to school, tell your auntie you don't understand. So that was how it went. So if you don't know what to teach and if you don't know how to teach, you cannot teach. And that is why we are doing this training so that you will know what to teach your child. So when your child is having any challenge or if he's learning any skill, you will know what to do and how to reinforce whatever the speech therapist or teacher is doing. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the first principle. We are looking at reinforcement, which is the reward you give to your child when he performs a desirable action. So, without reinforcement, your child will not learn. Why? Because it has a way of increasing a behavior. It's just normal for every child or every human being. What you encourage thrives. So when you do something and you see that somebody is happy with it, it tends to make you to do more. So that's the same thing with these children. It's just that they all their own needs to be done intentionally for it to work. So without the right kind of reinforcement given in the right order, your child will not be able to learn anything. So to practice that, we would like you to, if your child wants something, and he is crying for it, and you now give it to him, that is not reinforcement. You've just encouraged him to cry to collect something. So that was what I was saying, in the right, done in the right order. Okay, so when you are giving reinforcement, it should be that the child has done something good, and he knows it is because of that something good he did that you are giving him that thing. So that's how reinforcement works. Why we are touching these principles is so that as you are teaching your child, know it and know when to, or you can read it up, read more about it so you can effectively teach him. Okay, learn how to give the reinforcement. It's not what you can talk about here. So reinforcement can be verbal, good job, well done. It could be physical, you give him a toy he wants or a snack, or it could just be even negative reinforcement, withdrawing what he wants. Okay, I will not go into negative reinforcement now. It is a big thing. It's a big thing. Then punishment is also a form of reinforcement. Punishment is given. We sometimes we smack at the leg and all that. So in order to give the proper reinforcement, you need to know what your child likes. You need to know what he is desirable of. So that when he performs your own desirable action, you give him his own desirable reward. And it is because of that thing he desires that he will now want to do your own. So in our needs assessment, we have to find out what does this child like, what doesn't he like. If you give him what he doesn't like, he's not going to do anything you want him to do. So that's a very key. It's the first thing, identification of the correct reinforcement for every child. Okay, so the second principle we'll talk about is prompting. Prompting is the physical manipulation of the child to do something. Remember, the child doesn't know how to do something. And so just telling him, baby, sit down. She doesn't know, he doesn't understand the language. It's sounding like Greek to him. He doesn't know what sit is, and he doesn't even know, even if he understands the sit, he doesn't know how to sit. So prompting is about you now taking the child to sit. So when you tell him sit, you physically take him to a chair and sit him down. So when you sit him down, you now tell him, well done, good job. That's where the reinforcement comes in. So when he stands up again, now tell Victor, sit down. Or just use what sit. We don't use too much talk. At this stage, it's just gestures and prompting, manipulation. You tell him, sit. You push him down in the chair. If that's prompting, you push him down in the chair. Sit. Okay, Victor, stand. You bring him up again. You lift him up, or you, well, however, you lift his hands and let him stand. That is prompting. So, at the first stage of teaching anything, whether behavior or speech, the child requires maximum prompting. That's a physical manipulation. So, it's as he progresses, and when he has now continuously heard the sit, and now knows that when he sits down, when he hears the word sit, and you tell him to sit down, and you give him a reward, he will now know, okay, so that word sit means that I should put us on the chair. So that neural part is now created. He's now understanding that word. Remember, it's happening in the brain. A neural part, that neural wire is being straightened down. That sit means let your put us be on the chair. All right. So As it progresses, you can stop the physical manipulation. You can just point at the chair, sit, and he'll just go and sit. Very soon, you will not point at the chair. So that's prompt feeding. Okay, so these are the things you need to know in order to effectively teach. All right, so the next principle you need to know is okay, the needs assessment and goal setting. Not autistic kids are the same. So you need to assess your child's level of speech, of communication, of behavior, so that you will know where to start from. So when a child comes into our center, that's the first thing we do. We do it for 2 days. We need to know where is this child in his level of speech? Where is he at his level of behavior? What level is he? So that we'll start from there to teach. So it's just like going to normal school and your child, because your child is 7 years or 8 years, you now say he must be in primary three, he must be in primary two. Some good schools, what they do is assess your child and know if he can cope with that thing that is being taught in in that class. If not, they'll still tell you this is where your child should be, or there's no point pushing him and all that. So that's the first thing we do, so that we do not overshoot the child, we don't frustrate the child, and you, the therapist, don't end up not getting results. So you need to assess the child and then set an appropriate goal to teach the child. This is the first thing to do. This is the first thing. There's no point rushing the child. We'll all get there. Okay? And then no two kids are the same. So don't say, because my child is 4 years old, is 4 years, let them be the same thing. No. At Nene Center, we do individualize. So 4 or 5 kids could be in the same class, but their plans are different. Their plans are totally different. Okay. Then developing routine, very important. Repetition leads to mastery. Autistic children thrive on routine. Once their brain grasps something, it's hard to let go. That's one thing I like about them. Just try and teach them. Try and teach them that thing. Have you heard a child learning new words? You repeat that word though. We had a child that learned the word mommy. The mom was like, every time my child has not called me mommy. When will this child call me mommy? When she learned the word mommy, na the mommy tire, mommy, mommy, mommy. So the rest that every other person is now mommy, every other person is now mommy. So we had to start teaching this is mommy and this is auntie. So once they learn something, I love that about them. So don't be worried, just repetition. When you have to develop a routine for teaching your child, what are you teaching him per time? Continually doing one thing the same way, the same time, creates that path which we want. It's straight, it's just like in a bush, there is what we call bush path. Why is the bush path? Because legs have been walking on it and it has become a road. Not that it was cleared, but because legs were continually walking on it, it became a path. So that's what happens to the child's brain when you continually teach him that thing. That's that neuron that has been tangled up straightens up, and that's what we want. So once you achieve that, you go to the next thing, you go to the next thing, you go to the next thing. So develop a routine, how you teach the child, where you teach the child, what to teach the child, stage by stage, step by step, and your child will make progress. Okay, so those are the few principles I want you to start, because these are key. These are key that I want you to start with immediately. Find out your child's reinforcement, what he needs. Read more about prompting him so that he will learn that. And remember, he doesn't know how. So don't just shout, didn't you hear me? Get that cup. He doesn't know what cup is. He doesn't know what get is. He just look at you and move. All right. So prompt, prompt, prompt. Then know his level, know what he should be doing at that level, and go ahead, and your child will succeed. Yeah. So okay, concerning speech, so in not person I'm talking about behavior generally. About speech, know his level of speech. Know if he is still at the prompting stage. Okay, don't worry, we'll get to that place. So let's talk about language skills. This is part 3 we are in. So remember to drop your comments or questions, please. All right. So I'm thinking we might have, if I'm not able to answer the questions, I'm thinking we might have a live question and answer tomorrow in the group. I don't know yet, but let's go ahead. So the language skills, which is why we are here talking, right? Okay. So there's what we call the pre-language skills. These skills are very important that without it, your child will not learn anything, your child will not learn language. We call them ready to learn skills. They include sitting down, responding to name, eye contact, joint attention, and all that. For example, for your child to even listen to you and learn, he has to respond to his name. When you call Victor, he should be able to look at you and then you cannot gesture him come or you say come. He has to look at you. Imagine calling your child and your child is not answering you. But you know he's hearing you. When a sound or when he hears the sound of his favorite cartoon or biscuit, he will come. But when he hears his name, he doesn't come. So that's the first thing you have to teach him to respond to his name. Okay? So that when you're not teaching other things, he's listening. Second thing is about sitting. Of course, the child has to sit down to learn. He cannot be walking up and down. He cannot be walking up. So he has to sit down. So when you're not teaching him the word ball, come, or even one plus one, he has to be seated to learn it. So these are called pre-language skills. Joint attention is about two of you looking at the same thing. Autistic children lack this skill and we need to teach them because you cannot be telling him this is ball and he's looking somewhere else. How will he know what you're talking about? So joint attention is about two of you jointly paying attention to an object of study. So you need to learn how to bring his eye to what you are teaching him, and that's when it will make sense. So without these skills, your child will not learn anything. They are called pre-language skills. Before you start teaching language, you have to teach the skills. So I'm encouraging you, if your child is not sitting down, if he's not responding to them, if he cannot look you in the eye, when you say, Victor, look at me, and he cannot look you in the eye, he's not ready to learn yet. You'll be wasting your time talking. You'll be looking at him, are you not seeing me? Are you not hearing me? And his eye is up. You have to learn to bring his eye down for him to learn. All right? Then he has to learn to wait too. Waiting is important. So when he sits down and he wants something, tell him to wait. These things are very important, not just for language, not just for speech, but for social interactions, for growth. If your child gets to 13 years or 15 years and he's hungry and he cannot wait, you know it's a problem. You know it's a problem. So all these skills are important for everyday life. So once he has learned the skills, then he can now go on to the beginner language skills. This is the imitation phase. We have the gross motor, fine motor, and speech imitation. So under this gross motor, there are a lot of things in it. Gross motor imitation is generally about imitating big movements. Maybe when you tell the child hands up, he hands up. When you tell him turn around, he turns around. Touch your head. So if you know autistic cannot do this, but you know normal kids like even 2 years or even 1 year, when you say ooh, they follow and say ooh, when you say clap your hands, they follow and clap your hands. But you know autistic children cannot do this, depending on the spectrum anyway. So this is the first thing. If actually speech is about imitation, you know we learn words we hear. If an Igbo boy is born in China, he will learn China. Why? Because it is what he hears and he will imitate and speak. That's why some of our kids abroad, when they come back to Nigeria, they don't know how to speak Igbo. Why? Because they did not hear it. So it is what you hear, you imitate. A child is learning to say mommy. He starts with mama, 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 mama. So it's about imitation. So speech is generally imitation. So we start by with gross motor imitation, where they now learn big movements to imitate what they are seeing. Then we now get to fine motor, where you are now like touch your mouth, touch your eye. Gross motor is about a big movement. Oh yeah, jump up, turn around, touch your head. But when you now go to touch your ear, open your mouth, bring out your tongue, you're now going to fine things, fine things. So a child has to progress from gross motor. Gross motor is not only about movement of the body, it's about also movement of toys. So when you have two toys and the child, you've placed one on top of the one, maybe place red on top of blue, the child should imitate you and place red on top of blue. When you are building a castle, tell the child, do as I do. So let the child. So when the child has passed the gross motor, it goes to fine motor, then to speech. Under speech, the first thing is to imitate sounds, say ah, or say make the sound of a dog, boom, 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 make the sound of a train. So when a child gets to this imitation, after the sound imitation, nonsense imitation, you now go to letters and others. So it's a gradual process. So why I'm pointing this out is in case your child have not cannot imitate you in gross motor, there's no point teaching speech. How can he imitate? He's not hearing you to say ball, say motor, when he cannot even imitate clap your hands. All right, so these are stages. These are stages. So that's why we say we do assessment first to know where a child is. If the child needs to start from pre-language, that's the best. Don't jump. Don't jump. Don't be in a rush. We'll all get there. Okay. So after the beginner language skills, we have the intermediate language skills. After the child has can now imitate, has passed the imitation phase, is the comprehension stage. So he can now imitate words. He can now say water. He can now say bag. He can now say cat. Now, can he imitate, obey simple commands? So when you tell him, oh yeah, go and sit down, he must say sit down, but can he now obey you without pointing, without you pointing at the chair? Remember, he must have passed a lot of gate before. So you can just sit down in the house and say, Victor, get me your school bag. Or you can just say school bag. And he goes and brings the school bag. So that's the phase of comprehension. So answering WH questions, what is this? Can say ball. What color is this? Red. Where is mommy? Up. Or kitchen, or just pointing at it. He's not able to answer. So you see that communication is now coming. All right. Then you can now start asking for something in simple phrases. When he wants water, he just says water. Before he'll just drag your hand or he'll just be crying. But now he wants water, he just says water and all that. So that's the intermediate phase. So after the intermediate phase, you now go to the advanced stage, which includes obeying complex commands, answering how questions. How are you? How is this thing here? What happened? Then increase vocabulary. We don't learn all vocabulary at once. Even we adults, we have not learned all the vocabulary in this world. So your child gradually increases his vocabulary. You continue to put more words, useful words for him, increasing from one word to two words, two phrases. Ball, you start with ball, my blue ball is in the car, my blue ball, as in you increase the vocabulary, increase the sentences gradually. So he now interacts more with everybody around him, can communicate, he can play and all that. So these are the levels of, so as you go ahead, Know where your child is and then teach appropriately. Okay, so that's what we're equipping you with this in this webinar. So to get started with your child, drop any questions in the comment section. To get started with your child, the first thing is to understand how autism affects, okay, which we have done now. So to know that they are not doing it on purpose, whatever disobedience or whatever, they are not doing it on purpose. They don't just know how to communicate their feelings. So understand that, then learn the principles that you need to effectively teach your child, which we have talked about. So I expect you to go on and read more how to apply it. There are tons of resources out there. Learn the resources, then learn the principles, then understand the roadmap and levels of speech progress. So, which we have done now. Of course, there are subheadings under each, but this is the general roadmap from pre-language to beginner to. So these are the roadmap. So identify where your child is. So understand it, know the levels that are required, then determine your child's communication level, done through assessment, determine where he is at, then set a goal and chart a plan for action. So if your child is in the pre-language stage, and you know he has not mastered responding to name or sitting down or whatever, no, it's one after the other. That's another thing. Don't do a lot at the same time. If it's responding to name, you are teaching, teach it. If it's sitting, you are teaching, teach it. Okay? Because he needs to know this before he knows this. If you are teaching all of them at the same time, it will confuse him. Okay, those skills can be done together at different times, but the basics has to be taught first before you can now progress to teaching different things at the same time. So set a goal, chart a plan of action, follow it consistently. Follow it consistently. For your child, repetition is key. Don't do today and not do tomorrow. If you are teaching him to ask, or you are teaching him to wait when he asks for something, he should. If you are teaching him waiting, not to tell him wait and he now waits to give it to him. Tomorrow or maybe next one, when he's now throwing himself on the floor, you are not say, oh yeah, oh yeah, take, shape up, or take, and go out from here. You have spoiled what you are teaching. You have to be consistent. You are like, so why are you throwing yourself on the floor? No, I will not give you this until you ask, or you stop crying, or you wait. So be consistent. I know it could be frustrating. I know it could be you want him to get out of your face fast, but if you don't continue, you will regret it later. Actually, yeah. Okay, I had a parent call me from UK, and she was like, she's bringing her child back. She's bringing her child back. She's bringing her to me, and like, the child is 2.5 years. She has read a lot about this thing, and she knows that if she doesn't do what she's supposed to do now, then the work she doesn't want to do in the next 10 or 20 years, she'll be doing it. And what is that work? If you don't make your child independent now, teaching him the skills he should know, by the time he gets to 13 years, 18 years, you will be a forever nanny, because a child don't have learned how to communicate effectively. He cannot live an independent life. So he will be forever dependent on you. So how does that sound? Is that what you want? That you have trained up your child that they should now go and leave you and you rest. You are now carrying them up and down. They are fighting everywhere, because if you are not there, nobody understands them and they don't understand people. So do the work you need to do now. It can be painful, but I don't think God can give you more than you can carry. For God to allow this child to come to you, He knows you can do it. Yes, you can. All right. So seek professional guidance where confused. All right. So get your child started. You can do it. You can do it. I did it for my daughter. I know it costed me so much. I know what I paid for. Of course, I had a degree in psychology already. I know the time I spent reading, researching, finding the correct thing. And I'm so glad. And that's why I now expanded it to help other kids. Because my child I even brought, of course, I did psychology. I loved it. I love education, but I did not know I would go to special needs. It was my daughter. So you can do it. You can source for the knowledge, you can find it, you can do it. All right, but just get started. Get started. I hate it when parents come to me and they were like, I'm asking them, where have you been? Why did you wait this long? And they were like, they were searching for, and of course, I came out newly. Okay, that this, we celebrate 2.5 years now. We came out, we established a next center this 2 years now. They have been searching for such a thing. This is Nigeria, is not available. But then, did you seek knowledge on your own? You are waiting for government, you are waiting for a school to come up where the internet is there for you to do something. All right, so whatever it is, do it. Don't wait till it's too late for your child. All right, but just in case you are seriously dissatisfied with your child's current level of speech, just in case you want faster improvements, as in you want him to talk as soon as possible, and you don't have time to score the whole internet searching for the right information. You see, I highlighted right information, right? Because there's a lot of jargon out there. Thank God for my background, I was able to sift through. Okay, let me quickly say this. There are a lot of misinformation there telling you that if you take this medicine, your child's autism will go. Please don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Your child's autism wasn't caused by anything. No cause has been associated with autism, whether it is vaccine, whether it is the mother, drug, water, nothing, nothing. So it's just how your child was born. The brain was disordered. Okay, so no drug, not even brain surgery cannot remove it. It's only therapy that will straighten it out. I have a child that they were taking, the child was with us, he was improving, but the next term he came, we started seeing a lot of violent behaviors. I was like, what is happening? So it was later that the mom told me that they were giving him one medicine, that one person, their cousin or their auntie said that they used it for their child and I was like, I beg, I beg, I beg. I know your son last time, and I know him now. Please stop that medication. It is worsening the situation. So the mother, they were looking for solution, and they entered. Is it like only one chance? So when we stopped the medication, the child experienced some withdrawal symptoms. For 2 days, the child, a 4 year old boy, 4 years, the child was like all over the place because his body has started getting used to the medication and we were now withdrawing. He was experiencing withdrawal symptoms. He was like everywhere. 4 years, once more. Hey, Kaya. So after he calmed down, or after 3 days, he started calming down, getting himself. And I tell you, he has picked up. He has picked up. So please, even for if your child has ADHD, we don't recommend medication. Please, supplements are okay, all those omega-5, all those ones, but anything that will say that it will cure this, it will cure that, please run away from them. All right? Don't worry, your child will get well. Just it's a matter of time. Remember, it's therapy. We are straightening out tangled wires. It will take time, but it will surely work, and it is more permanent. It's more permanent, okay? So if you don't have time to score the whole internet searching for the right information and you need a professional to guide you through so that you are sure of what you are getting, then I will actually, we are launching our online class by September, a full autism program. It's a 3 month intensive program with 5 months of support. We'll teach your child everything about autism, not just talking, but also behavior and social skills. So that's the price there. 250,000. So it's starting in September. That's for September. Okay, it's a program for September. But for this holiday, we would like you to get started with a beginner course. Yes, it's a it's starting next week, 12th August. So we just want to do this holiday program so that your child will be ready for school by September. So I don't know the school your child is going to and all that, but is what we'll be covering there is the basic principles for teaching your special needs child. Okay, so you learn the principles, we'll teach you the principles and how to apply them. We use both ABA, DTT, and a whole lot of others. You need to know the principles. Remember, it's not about knowing what to teach, it's about knowing how to teach it. And that's where the principles. I thought about reinforcement, when to give it, how to give it, the prompting, when to prompt, when not to prompt, when to fake prompt. So those are the principles you need to be effective. Then we are covering the pre-language skills. This is basic. This is very basic. Without it, you cannot teach your child. You cannot. If he doesn't have these pre-language skills to learn, he cannot. So this is what we want to teach this August, this holiday, so that by the time September comes, your child is ready to learn. Your child can go back to school more confident. Okay, so what do you have access to practical videos of how to teach? You assess your child. There'll be a language assessment to know where your child is at so that we'll start at the right place for him. So if your child has passed the pre-language skills, if he has covered it, we'll take you to the next phase. Okay, we'll not all, we'll just forward you to the next stage for your child. But if he has not, you will teach. So you have a personalized autism evaluation. Some of you said they have not been diagnosed. So we'll now know, you will know how what your child's spectrum is. There is one, there is two, there is three. Okay, so you know the spectrum your child falls in. Okay, and you have one-on-one professional guidance. Of course, we'll now develop, I told you about goal setting and all that. We'll now develop an individualized speech plan for your child, where he is, what he should be doing, how he should be doing it, and his speed. Remember that memory issue, no two children's memory is the same thing. Your child could be faster, your child could be slower. We'll adjust for him, making sure he's getting things done. All right. Okay, so if you want to eliminate, okay, there are tons of free resources out there actually. As I said, they are there, but I'll recommend this course because it will be tailored specifically to your child. Remember, the information you get out there, you read it, unless you have the background, no problem. But it will eliminate the confusion that comes through too much information. Trust Google. They'll spill out information. You'll now be, which one are you starting with? Which one are you doing first? How are you doing it? That confusion is there. Okay? But then you also have a clear picture of where your child is now and where you want him to be, and a clear roadmap of how to get there. So you're able to set a goal for your child and achieve it. You are able to say, by this time next week, by this time next month, my child would have achieved this. Okay, so you know your child is progressing at at a level. Okay, so you get professional feedback and guidance, because how we do here is that we'll give you lessons. We want you to do it. You even send videos to tell us that you have done it so that we'll watch what you are doing, know if you are doing it, know if you're having any challenge, if the fault is from you that is teaching it, or whether your child is having an issue that your unprofessional eye will not notice. So we'll notice it and say, okay, see where you see the challenge your child is having. Okay, I teach him this way, we'll guide you. You'll not get this on the internet. Okay, unless you're also paying a speech therapist to do that for you. So this is all you will get. That's why we are recommending it if you want immediate help for your child. All right. So if you want it, if you want to eliminate trial and error, remember trial and error is okay, let me see if this thing will work. If it doesn't work, we try another one. Meanwhile, your child is growing. He's passing the stage where it will be easier for him to be helped. So if you want a faster and surer route to teach your child to talk, so join us on the 12th of August. Okay, and the price or the your investment is 55,000 naira for 3 weeks. Okay, so you can pay in naira, you can pay in dollars. What will be required from you is 10 to 15 minutes a day with your child. By the time you draw up a plan for your child, we will tell you what to teach him. And one good thing about this holiday period now is that instead of you to take 10 minutes a day to teach your child, you can spread it the whole day. You can take 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the mid morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening, 10 minutes at night. So you have, by the time you combine those 10, 10, 10, 10 minutes, your child have achieved a lot. If he were going to school, it would just be maybe 10 minutes, one 10 minute or two 10 minutes because he came back from school, he's tired and all that. But this holiday, please, I would like you to use this opportunity, this holiday to teach him. Take it as a lesson that your child is going for lesson and you are the lesson teacher. Even if you are not the therapist, even if you will not be on ground, your spouse, your other children can be the ones to tell them, okay, Chimde, by the time it is this is how we'll teach Ebube how to do this. This is how we'll teach Ebube how to do this. So your children could also be the therapist because you have learned how to do it so they can help you. That's why I like the home. The home is so comfortable and they can even do it through play and your child will learn faster. So our aim is just to guide you. We want to give you this is what to teach your child, this is how to teach it, and you will do the rest, and your child will experience success. If you're having any challenge, we are there to guide you through. So apart from the time you will take to read or watch the lessons, just 10 minutes a day is okay. But then if you are like me that want fast, 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 what am I doing? You must do it though. I'll just give a child break. Oh yeah, come back. Oh yeah, break. Come back. We must learn this thing. All right. So your return in 3 weeks will be your child will be calm, composed, and eager to learn anything. That bond between you would have developed. You have understood your child. Your child has seen that you're understanding him. There'll be it will lead to a stressful relationship because you've not understood your child and everything is going well. You have laid a basic foundation for his future success. I like this. This independent living, oh, it is very important because by the time your child becomes an adult and he doesn't have the skills, you will become a nanny for life. Oh. You'll be carrying your child up and down. You cannot leave your child in the house. You'll be afraid. Or he cannot go and visit his cousins. He's always with you in the house, going to market, in the church, because your child cannot compose himself in the children's session. They'll bring him for you in the church, adult church. Then when you go to market or to a party, they'll be complaining about, you don't want that kind of life. No, no, no. I know. Me, I don't want it. As I dare here now, nobody. All right. So please, you have laid a basic foundation for his future success, not just for talking, but even in learning in school. He'll go back to he'll return to normal school, and the teachers will be surprised what happened because you have given him a basic foundation. Remember, he doesn't know how. It is you that have to teach him how, and he learns it, and he's happy with it. Okay, so if you are willing to join us, you are free to join us. As I said, you can do this on your own. You can score the internet, you can. Okay, and then for some parents, okay, I think I've mentioned some parents who don't really have time, you can still contract it out. As I said, the siblings can help, Or you can even bring a lesson teacher or a teacher you trust that could be using the lessons to teach your child in the house. Whatever it is, though we want that mother and child bonding or father and child bonding, worst case scenario, contract it out. What you want is success. Trust me, you don't want your child to get older without having this foundation. You don't want it. I've seen autistic children, they are chaining them. They are not mad. As I said, because they don't know how to communicate their desires, they now become violent. And violence is termed is aggression now. So you see them holding them, chaining them, locking them. And my heart breaks. My heart breaks because this child wouldn't have gotten to this level if there was proper intervention when he was younger. When some of my children come in here, they are violent though, throwing things. One will carry chair. I'll be like, in this place, you don't throw chairs. Sit down. Ah, they do. And because they are young, they will not fight me now. They have to. So by the time you continually teach them, sit down, sit down. This is how to behave. This is how to behave. They pick it up. Ah, please don't let your child get so bad. Please intervene now, either on your own or if you need us to help you, no problem. No problem. So the door closes on Wednesday, the 8th of August. So if you would like to join us, use this holiday period to get your child started. Please use this holiday period. Don't let them just play away. And then if you know that you are not going to any lesson that will really help them achieve something, I encourage you to join us on the 12th. So I think that is all. I wish it was live. I wish it was live. I wish it was live so I could take your questions. But whatever, you can still send your questions and I'm right here to answer you. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps in getting you started. I think I hope we have laid the foundation that autism is not it's not a worst case scenario. It's just a disorder that just needs straightening out. You don't need medication. You just need to know how and when and what and follow a steady routine. But then time is important. Remember, we said it, your child can talk if you could start at the right time, at the right at the right with the right kind of intervention. If you pass this Windows age, I don't know. So thank you. God bless you. Okay, so thank you for joining us. Thank you. The link to the payments page is in the comment section. It's also be on the group page. If you have other questions, further questions, you are free to ask. And the payment link is in the comment section. Thanks for tuning in.